Dan here for Six Towns Radio. I am with Ben Adams and Joanne Clifton, who are currently featuring in Flashdance, which is here at the Regent Theatre in Stoke. Guys, thank you very much for joining me.
Pleasure.
It was your first night in Stoke yesterday. How was it for you?
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. The theatre was full. Such an atmosphere. When the theatre's full like that, you get such an energy, and they seem to love it.
Yeah, it's such a, well, I mean, you saw it as well, didn't you? So
yeah.
it's like it's got so much energy, this show, and it's called Flashdance, obviously, so the dancing is incredible. And we just had such a great time, and I think everybody in the audience did too.
There was people dancing in the, I've seen it a couple of times, but not quite as intense.
Were they flashing?
From the audience.
Were they flashing?
They were not flashing.
Not flashing, just dancing.
It's not that kind of show. But if you want to, go ahead. Just not in Stoke. Not in Stoke.
No?
Wait for that.
I think Stoke would be fun for that.
There we go. From Ben Adams himself. He wants you to flash.
Flash away.
Flash
away.
At the Regent Theatre. But yeah, people were dancing. It was intense, like dancing. They were like trying to match. Not that your dancing isn't intense, Ben. But they're trying to match your dancing.
He doesn't do any. Well, just a tiny bit of sound.
It doesn't. It's intense. I'll let you off. But yours, Joanne, you are like 100 and no, not even 100%, 1,000%. All the time when you're on stage, and I was watching, I was going, I need a drink of water because I'm knackered watching this. This is incredible.
Yeah, I'm
so people are trying to match that.
So what you're trying to say is watching Joanne perform is tiring.
It's not. I am not saying that. I refuse to be labelled with that.
Fine.
What I'm saying is, it feels like it is. It's tiring for you.
It is a tiring show. It is a tiring show for me. I mean, I'm 34 next month. And all the other dancers are like in the 20s, early 20s. But I've just got to keep going and keep going and keep going. But actually, it's the audience's reaction that gives me that energy to keep going.
It keeps you. Is there a point in the show where you can actually rest? Do you go, I can relax now? Or is it...
Well, in Act 1, we've got your song. There's your song, Justice, with all the lads.
Yeah.
So I've got a time then to relax. And then there's I Love Rock and Roll and Manhunt, which I'm not in. So I can just breathe for a second. But I'm not really sat down, I'm changing.
So you don't really get a rest. You've been short-changed.
Yeah, I just get changed.
Yeah. So that's not fair. That's not fair on you.
Even in the interval, because the end of Act 1 finishes with the water drop, so I'm absolutely drenched. In the interval, all I'm doing is trying the...
What's it like doing a show like Flashdance? Because it's one of those shows that everybody knows and everybody's got... You know the music from it straight away. Even if you're not 100% of the story, which we'll come on to, you know the music and people just like start bopping along. Is that pressure for you guys to be in a show like this?
I don't think it's a pressure. I think it sort of helps because, you know, obviously going and sitting and listening to 2.5 hours of new music, even if you go and see your favourite band and they just play their new songs, it's a bit like, it's quite hard to sort of digest. So if you have, there's a great original score as well as all the big songs like Manhunt, Gloria, I Love Rock and Roll, Maniac, What a Feeling. So I think there's a good mixture of both. I mean, there's a slight pressure to perform them as well as they have been performed, and because they're such well-loved songs that exist already, to sort of do them justice is a little bit of pressure. But we don't actually sing any of them.
We don't sing the ones that people know. I dance them, and you dance a bit in the last one.
Yeah, so the songs we get are the sort of more original school ones, so the pressure really is on the other people.
So you're still going, good luck with this, guys.
Yeah, do it good, don't mess
Don't ruin
it
it. Yeah. Just a little word in the ear just as they go on stage.
Yeah.
People will hate you if you get this wrong.
Exactly, and so will we. Yeah. No, but they're brilliant. It's such an amazing cast, and it's we've got to just say what a fantastic, talented bunch of people we're working with.
Actually inspiring to watch. I mean, because I am a dancer, but I'm not that style of dancer. I normally do waltzes and foxtrots and quick steps in long dresses with a man, and now I'm finding myself trying to do like all the street dance, the hip hop, commercial jazz kind of stuff. And I just watch them do it, and they just keep on going. So much energy, so much flexibility, so much passion in there.
Is it important to have that kind of supportive cast, because you do tour a lot of cities and you see each other probably more than you see some of your families during the run of a show? Is it important that you've got a cast like that? That you can get on with and you can go, actually, these are
definitely. I think already we've become like a family kind of thing. We're all very, very close. We've got our WhatsApp group. We're organising outings, like we're going to Alton Towers, aren't we, on Friday?
Very exciting.
Yeah, we've been zip lining. We're going to organise bus tours and stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I am.
I've not been invited. That's
I'll be
all.
honest now.
Well, to be honest, we're not actually.
No, we're not really invited along to many of the parties. We have to sort of invite ourselves a lot
Because
of the
we're
time.
that little bit older.
And we're just really stupid together, and I think,
We annoy people.
yeah,
Really?
we're a bit annoying and old.
Do you
We
play
find
pranks on
things funny
people?
that are not funny.
No, you know, all the pranks are played by the young'uns.
Yeah.
We just sort of watch the pranks happening, and then sort of, you know, pranks get taken too far, and then people cry, and all that sort of stuff.
So you just like
sit on the edge.
We told you somebody would get hurt.
Yeah.
That's the kind of role that you're taking in this
Well,
show.
yeah, well, we're, you know,
We just
mid-30s,
do like
so...
we just do like Snapchat videos with the funny filters and find it hilarious, but no one else does.
I like the idea that you just start going, we can be a dog, and they'll go, yeah, it's last year.
Yeah, exactly, but we've just discovered it. We've just
amazing.
discovered
It's
Snapchat and
new
Instagram.
technology.
Yeah.
Phones can recognise your face.
It's amazing.
When you are on tour, and it is intense for both of you, obviously singing and dancing, and sometimes together. Wow. What do you do in your downtime? So you mentioned that you go Alton Towers and you go out a lot for cast, but what do you do to kind of just relax and take yourself away from it?
Not just to relax, but what you this morning have been producing music.
Yeah.
And stuff,
So we've been doing it.
Yeah.
We're going to be releasing one of the songs from the show. One of the people have said that one of their favourite songs is the ballad that we sing together. So I've been producing up that track, and we were vocaling it this morning. So that's kind of what we have been doing for fun. Did you find it fun?
It was alright, apart from when you got bossy. I sang one bit and he said, no, do it again, but do it better.
Wow.
Well, you know, I just want it to be good. That's the problem. I can't just say, yeah, that was a bit bad, but we'll keep it.
Yeah.
No, but you know, we live together on this anyway, so we just hang out and be silly and go for
I
lunches.
make eggs.
And
You make cakes?
Eggs.
Oh, eggs.
Poached eggs, because it's the only thing I can cook. I can cook poached eggs, tortellini or Pop-Tart.
And I can eat eggs, tortellini, and Pop-Tarts. It's a wonderful combination. It's a strange combination, but it's Joe's combination.
That could be like some weird restaurants are opening. You could just open it with selling those things, and people go, "This is genius. Why has nobody ever thought of this before?"
Because
there we
you
go.
could have the eggs for a starter, tortellini for a main, and Pop-Tart dessert. There you go.
There we
Bring
go.
it sorted.
I mean, we should probably say nobody else can nick that idea. Like, this is like copyright.
I'll be honest, I don't think anyone will. I think we're safe.
I mean, this is going on the internet, and the internet is a weird place.
Yeah.
So
That's
it
true.
could go a bit further than that. Let's talk about what you guys were up to before kind of Flashdance, before musical theatre as well. Joanne, you're currently the reigning champion of Strictly Come Dancing.
Not for long.
Not for long, but you are still. You are still the reigning champion of Ben. People obviously will know you from A1.
Yeah.
The pop singer and pop star. So this is a bit of a different step for both of you. You know, you're on stage and you become in musical theatre. You're pushing on with that, and you've both done it a bit. This isn't the first show that you've done.
Well, it is for you, isn't
Oh.
it?
It's the first musical show.
First musical
First musical show. So, what were the feelings for you, especially? Obviously, people will know you from it. So, people, when you kind of came on stage the first time, people were like, oh, it's it from A1. Is that a bit scary for you that people are seeing you in a different light?
Not really. I mean, you know, I think the funny thing is that, you know, there's been a long period between A1 and musical theatre, of which I've done loads of things, but a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So I write and produce for other people, or I write musical and stuff like that. And then I think it just got to a point where I was like, I'm a bit tired of doing stuff behind the scenes at the moment, because, you know, I sort of write songs and produce songs for other people to go and have fun with, and I kind of don't want to sit in four walls of a studio doing that. I can do that when I'm 50, so I thought, you know, I'd really like to get out there and just do more performing. And musical theatre is different, but it's essentially the same, because, you know, when you go on stage as a pop star or a singer or whatever, you're still putting on a persona and acting and singing and you know, that kind of stuff. You're just doing your own material rather than somebody else's. So it's kind of the same, but it is very different. And actually, working as a team, I think that's what I've had to learn about musical theatre. You know, it's not just all about me and standing at the front and all that kind of stuff. It's about being a team, and every single part of that team is as important as, you know, each other.
Would you say that's the biggest thing for you that you've had to adjust to, is the team aspect of it? And it's not, you don't just have to look after what you're doing, you have that team aspect. Is that the hardest thing you've had to adjust to?
I think that was probably I don't think it was hard. I think it was just like rejigging my brain to go like, okay, cool, we're all a team here, and you know, everybody has to be brilliant, and we've all got to support each other, and otherwise the show will suffer. So I mean, it wasn't really a hard adjustment, that, because, you know, I love musical theatre. I've been to see many musicals, I'm just really happy to be part of it. Really, it's really fun. I didn't actually think I'd like it. I thought I've said no to every single musical theatre thing that I've been offered in the past because I thought it was.
Yes to Flashdance because he saw I was in it.
I was going to say, what was it about Flashdance? It was obviously Joanne.
It was Joanne, through and through. I was like, no, Joanne's doing it. Yes, that was how it went. No, but I mean, you know, I was born in the 80s. I'm an 80s child. I love 80s music. It's my favourite era of music. The musical I've written is completely 80s, so I've spent the last few years completely submerged in 80s land. So when this came along, it was great timing, you know, for me wanting to get out and perform more, but also it was a perfect sort of vehicle of an era that I love to sort of put my stamp on.
Just before we talk to Joanne, you did mention, obviously you've written a musical, and what made you go from saying no to every musical that you were offered to going, I want to write one? What was?
Well, because I love musicals, as I said, but I've always wanted to write a musical, but I ended up just sort of writing songs for other pop stars or rock stars or whatever, and then, you know, that's okay, but then you're writing what? You're writing stuff that other people want you to write. So a record company will come to you and go, we need a song like this, can you do this, can you produce it like this? And so I kind of felt a little bit like I was working for other people. And then I thought, well, what do I actually want to do for myself? And so I got together with a friend of mine who's a great scriptwriter, and we just thought, well, let's have a go. And we've been talking about having a go for years and years, and then we went to the pub near where I live, got really drunk and thought, perfect time to start. Wrote a very silly song, and we went to bed not thinking much of it. Woke up the next morning, we were like, ooh, it's pretty good. So then we wrote another one. We took it to some producers just for advice, and then they loved it and jumped on board straight away. So I lied and said we'd written like 10 songs and we'd written 2. So then I had to play catch up, and that's kind of how it progressed. So that's going on in London beginning of next year. I won't be in that, but I'm going to be, because I've got to do all the music and all that kind of stuff and arrangements.
Where can people find information about that if you want to look at it?
Well, we're just about to launch. It's called Eugenius, and I think it's the eugeniusthemusical.com. Something like that is the website, so you can find it there. And there's Twitter pages and all sorts for Instagram and stuff for that. But yeah, we're just about to sort of announce where it's going in next year.
I mean, have a look around because this theatre would love it.
Absolutely, it's going to start in London, and then we may well bring it elsewhere. But I mean,
we've got to now. We've spoken
you
about
have
it.
to. You have to. It's a deal. Shake my hand.
Let's sort it. On behalf of the theatre. I don't know if I can, but hey, why not?
You've done it.
Exactly. It's all about the money for me. Joanne, let's talk about Strictly. You left Strictly as the reigning champion, which was a bit of a shock for everyone when this news came out. What was that decision? Basically what I'm saying is, was it an easy decision for you to go, I want to concentrate on musical theatre for a bit? I
mean, of course it wasn't easy, because I think the profile and the exposure, and also the fact that I do love it, of Strictly, it's so big. Like, it's the biggest show on TV, and I was dancing in front of 12 million viewers every weekend when I was on it. But I have had this dream for so long now, and we didn't expect to win it last year, but luckily we did, and I thought, well, maybe now's the perfect time, you know?
What happens with the glitter ball? Do you have to give that back? And when you said, I'm leaving, did they go, right, I'm the glitter ball?
I'll tell you the truth about the glitter ball. Right, there's one big glitter ball with all our names on it, and as soon as the camera, I hadn't seen that, like as soon as the cameras go off, they grab it and they run off with it because they're scared we're going to drop it. Because we're in shot, and I think you could see on the when I watched it back, my hands are shaking when we won it. So they just run, cameras off, get the glitter ball. I've never seen it again, but they give me and Ori, like, they give the winners the little ones. And my mum and dad's got that.
Do you know, it's a bit like the Brits, because when we won the Brit, they then said, right, that's great, but if you all want one, you have to pay 500 quid per Brit.
What?
Oh no, well we didn't have to pay.
You didn't have to pay?
No, they just give us a little one, and it just says winner on it, but it looks like the big one. It's about
it's just a miniature version.
Yeah.
And where is that, did you say?
That's in Grimsby at my mum and dad's house.
In your mum and dad's house?
Next to my Christmas special one that I won, just to remind my brother that he hasn't got one yet.
I was just going to say, does your brother go, like, you get together at Christmas and then just go, or just special birthday?
No, the Christmas one, like when we're doing the tree and that, I'll say, Kev, do you want to put this down on? Because, you know, that one's a perfect shape, the Christmas special, and this one looks like a bauble, let's put that one there.
What is it like having a brother, obviously, in the same industry as what you're in? Is it very competitive, or are you supportive? So he's in the current series.
Yeah.
Do you give advice as a winner, or do you let him do his own thing?
Well, he's not allowed to help each other, like, but, well, I suppose with advice, Yeah, if he asked for it, but he is the older one of the two, and I've always looked up to him, and he's always been my inspiration, and if anything, he would give advice to me, also because he's been on it longer than me. I only did the 3 years, this is now his 5th year or something like that, so he would always give advice to me. He has sent me a little tiny 20-second clip going, do you think this looks alright? And I was like, yeah, it looks
It's quite useful having someone that's on the outside to, because you're not part of that bubble anymore, to be able to sort of give advice.
Yeah, but we're not really allowed.
Do you miss it? Do you miss the, because obviously that's really intense, you have to come up with new choreography almost.
Yeah, it is very intense, and it is, for us pros it's a 7-day-a-week job. I mean, the celebrities get the Sunday off to relax, but we have to choreograph on that Sunday, so we have to go into a studio and stay there for hours putting a routine together and stuff, and then the production might ring up and say, oh, your music's changed at the last minute or something like that, so we'd have to re-choreograph. So it is quite a stressful job, but I think when we went back to do the launch show and we had to do the winner's dance, that was the only time where I sat and I watched all the other pros practicing and getting paired up and stuff like that, and I was it's the only time I felt a little bit like, oh. But then immediately I go to myself, but do you know what, I'm actually doing what I love, and I really love being in Flashdance.
And obviously the Flashdance is very different. You mentioned you're a professional ballroom dancer, and the dance that you're doing is completely, not, but I wouldn't say polar opposite, but the very difference is very nearly polar opposite. Was that a tough thing for you?
It was at the beginning. Not so much to pick up the steps, because I think being a dancer since I was 4, I did my first competition when I was 4, so like being a dancer, you pick up the steps quite easy, but to make them look good and to make them look right in that style, that's the difficulty. And I was coming home with muscles aching and bruises. Well, I still got bruises now, I reckon, scratches all over, blisters, all sorts.
You damaged your leg as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I popped my calf muscle in the second show when we opened. Yeah, but I love kind of new challenges. So, yeah, after 30 years now of ballroom dancing, doing street hip-hop commercial jazz is good.
So, Flashdance then. Obviously people will know you too. That's why I try to get in behind Flashdance, because people are going to come and they're going to absolutely love it, because it is one of those shows that you can't walk away and go, I wanted more, because you give 1,000% every night, and it is one of those shows where you want to join in. My girlfriend was watching, and she said when she was watching, she was like, I'd love to, I just wanted to get up and dance with her. She made me like, I want to dance, and I'm like, I didn't feel it. I just went, I wish I could just put 2 steps together. But it is one of those where you want to get involved constantly. For people who are watching, a sentence each. Why should they come and watch Flashdance whilst it's in Stoke? No pressure.
A sentence?
One sentence?
Well, I mean, you can. I mean, a paragraph. Depends how long you want to do. I'm thinking about your dinner time.
Come and watch Flashdance in Stoke, because it's got Ben Adams from A1 who does a roly-poly, which is the highlight of the show, even though the rest of us dance full out for 2.5 hours, and he gets the biggest round of applause at the end.
You know what? Some people need to bust a gut for hours on end to impress. Other people just turn up, do a bit of singing, roly-poly on out of there, collect the applause and go home.
Other than Ben Adams doing his roly-poly, it's got all the iconic songs in there. It's got
Gloria.
Yeah, you can sing them if you want.
Okay.
I love rock and roll.
She's a maniac on the floor.
What a feeling. And it also got all the moments. It's got the audition. It's got the water drop that happens. I get absolutely drenched. We've got leg warmers and leotards.
It's got Joanne Clifton, the current reigning champion of the only champion that anyone cares about from Strictly, you know.
But I get not as big as applause as him for his roly-poly.
I mean, that was perfectly summed up. I did want to, and I didn't want to mention the roly-poly.
Why didn't you want to mention it?
Because
because it's the stuff of legend.
It is the stuff of legend, and I also, when I first saw it, before my girlfriend went, no, I think you meant that, I thought, has he just fallen over? Has he just tried? Has he fallen over? I was like, oh, Ben Adams, Raymond's fallen over.
No, look, it's an odd choice, I'll give you that. But to be honest, at the end of the show, the choreographer said, right, so this is everyone's chance to show off, show what you can do, blah, blah. And I sort of watched all these amazing dancers doing flips and all sorts of spins and stuff, and I thought, well, I cannot compete with that at all, not being from a dance background, so I just do roly-poly. And that's how that was born.
Yeah.
and it's a pretty good one. I do try to make it look as non-coordinated as possible so that it's clear that it's a joke, but obviously it didn't work.
But he done half milk it. After everyone's done their flipping flips and everything, he comes out and he goes, roly-poly. Thank you. You're welcome.
You have the opportunity to see that roly-poly and one of the best shows that's been at the Regent Theatre for a long while. Come and see Flashdance. It's here until the 30th of September. Get your tickets from atgtickets.com/Stoke Ben and John. Thank you very much for joining me.
You are welcome. Thank you.